everyone. I am Marilee Milmo. My guest Alex is a fifth density Andromedan emissary, elder, and contactee. He has had the two mentors from Andromeda throughout his life. Mornay is a 7.5 foot tall, blue-skinned Andromedan who is 2,500 years old and looks about 30. And Theseus is also an Andromedan and shorter in stature. Now, as I understand it, the Xanae, which is a group in Andromeda, have the most advanced holographic regenerative medical beds because there are several different types. These previously secret holographic medical beds have been my passion for 20 years. So I am excited about Alex revealing the details that are planned, which will be the beginning eventually of many suppressed inventions and technologies and beneficial health modalities coming forward after this. Now, I have followed Alex since his first talk in 1991, and for 30 years, Alex was one of the first, if not the first, to teach about the overall big picture game on Earth, or Terra, as it's referred to galactically. He includes the true history of our planet and all of us humans and who we really are, which are hybrids with 22 royal extraterrestrial DNA species and cultures in our DNA. I've known him to work tirelessly under unimaginable pressures and hardships to help awaken the human race that has been programmed. The good news is now, this is the final clinching point. There are more of us becoming aware and awake and starting to remember our true nature and history, which is indeed stored inside our DNA. So the Advanced Benevolent Andromedan Council has been pivotal for us because they were the first to advise top leaders and military that in 300 years from now, our solar system would become completely tyrannical and with enslaved humans. And that tyranny originated in Earth, then the moon and Mars. So needless to say, that bit of news really, I believe, coaxed us all into cooperating more together and moving faster along. Now, Alex himself, as you can see, is a fifth density, 10-foot Andromedan captain who was aboard a spacecraft that unfortunately crash landed on Earth as he was traveling through the sector when the huge galactic wars were occurring. And he got engaged in some skirmishes, which ended up having him reincarnate on Earth, much to his chagrin, right, Alex? So welcome, Alex, and many thanks for being on this show with your super busy schedule. I so appreciate who you are and send you a big hug.
Thank you, Marilee. It's an honor and a privilege for me to be here. Just to button some things up in the beginning there, they are the Xanateans, that's the name of their system.
Okay.
They are in fifth density. Mornay is still alive. Theseus, however, has crossed over. That was September of 98. November of 98, he crossed over. So yeah, it's just Mornay. And as far as the tyranny actually began to reach into fifth density. And they found out that it started, the nucleus of it started in our solar system. So, and you were right about in the very beginning, your opening statements about the fact that, as we get closer to, the Earth and the human race has had several moments where we were able to break free, where we were going to make a huge leap in consciousness. Earth has been close to ascension a couple of times. And then, of course, something happens and it doesn't happen. And then we look at many thousands of years of the same bullshit over and over and over again. But we never had the supports off planet that we do now. And we've never had the impetus of other star nations to really make sure that this happens. Because if this doesn't happen now, or in this next time period that we're in, it dramatically affects them, which is why they've come back in time to assist us. So as much as of the great information we're going to share today, there's a lot of things going on in the background between the light and the dark. And we have to keep that in mind.
And we've had tremendous help and will continue to be.
Yes, I absolutely believe that.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely believe that.
As long as we don't allow fear or doubt or depression to get in our ways.
Well, that only comes with the lack of information and knowledge, I think. I think once everyone understands what's really going on, and they can look at all of the remarkable changes that have already occurred, just in the last 5, 6, 10 years, 15 years. The med beds, for one. Look at this amazing technology. The fact that we even know about it, the fact that, they're actually building these for us. This is not a dark agenda. This is a light agenda. And the fact that this is even going on should inspire everyone and encourage everyone to understand that, we are moving in a very positive direction, and the future of humanity is one of immense brightness. And we have to know that. We have to hold that vision. We have to demand that that's what it's going to be. And at the same time, we have to create it. And in so creating it, we have to understand that, who we're dealing with. These are people, these are beings that so loathed humanity that they decided they could do whatever they wanted, not only to us in creating wars and killing the youth and killing young men, but the children, the things that they have been doing to children for a very, very long time, that they just feel they can do whatever they want with us. That's how little respect, that's how little they actually think of us. And, we have to take that to heart. And in taking it to heart, we have to absolutely stand our ground and say, no more. This ends now. And then we have to protect each other. We have got to stand together. Out of all the star nations out there, every single one of them doesn't see race. They see one humanity here. And yet we allow these things, the media, to divide us, to separate us. It's all wordplay to divide and conquer. And we have made it easy for them by complying.
Yes.
And we just can't do
People don't understand the law of compliance, and that's really important to know. Yeah. This is why they have no respect, because we've gone along to get along. We have to understand who has been in control. Mm-hmm. We have to understand that they have not, in any way, shape, or form, empowered us personally. What they have done is they've taken our souls, our spirits, our inner knowing, and they've forced everything to the outside where we could be controlled by media and emotionally manipulated. Yes.
To jump, hop, run, skip, yell, get mad, be aggressive. Whatever they wanted to do to us, they've done.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I'm going to have you share later on in the show certain things that are really important about empowering one another and for all of us to step up. Alex, why don't you go ahead and share anything you would like to about the details?
Well, I can read this rewritten and updated document that I have and that I've shared previous. And of course, we can share this updated version as well for everyone, with everyone. So let's just start it off. The MedBeds is holographic technology. It's also color, light, and sound. This technology, this knowledge has been around since before Atlantis on this planet, and it has existed off-world for tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of years, with other star nations and star traveling pioneers.
Mm-hmm.
They understood a very, very long time ago that our bodies are holographic, that we are essentially made of color, light, and sound. And it wasn't until, 25, 30 years ago that we were able to scientifically prove that by looking at the body under an electron microscope. And what they did not see was physicality. What they saw was light. Now, Nikola Tesla had talked about all these types of different technologies or concepts that he knew to be true simply because he was a genius. But of course, he was having contact in his own way as well during his lifetime. But he was just the genius. And I don't know that there's been anyone like him since. But the technology wasn't there for him to actually put all of this together to where it is today. Unfortunately, he didn't live long enough. So, essentially what we're talking about here is healing the human body. Now, the holographic camera that the A's use, they call it a camera. What it does is it takes a picture of your body. And this picture, because it's holographic, is a picture of the present time when the picture is being taken, and it goes all the way back to conception. And what they do is they will go through these series of slides that are taken in this one picture. And what they will do is they will pull out the particular slides of where your body was the healthiest, whether it's kidneys, liver, muscle, knees, brain, heart, it doesn't matter. And what they will do is they will put those pictures together and create a new hologram. And then what they will do is they will overlay that holographic picture onto your physical body, literally healing it and renewing your body while you're there. It's just, there are no words. And to them, it's simple because they understand. They have all the knowledge. Nothing's been suppressed for them, and they understand who we are and what we are. Here on Earth, however, and in other star systems that have been controlled and manipulated by the Orion group, we haven't had that education or that knowledge. But nonetheless, this technology is coming out. This technology has been created. It is in use, I'm sure, in Black projects. I am sure that it has been used on humanity, humans of some sort, maybe the elite. We hear that it's being used on the children that are pulled from the underground dumps. We can sincerely hope that that is in fact true, because they certainly would deserve it. It should have been being used on veterans, combat wounded, civilians damaged by war. It should have been in use for quite some time now, but it hasn't been. It has been suppressed. And as you are fully aware, there's a battle between the light and the dark, on the surface, underground, and all around us, and going into the fourth dimension. There is a battle going on between light and dark. The light's going to win this.
Yes, it is.
The light's going to win this. This is where this ends. This is where all this nonsense ends. When we find out the truth, we're going to go through several stages of emotional upset, disbelief, anger, and then resolve. And the last part, the resolve, is where humanity makes the difference and then makes it shift permanently. And that emotion, that knowing of resolve, is not only going to change and alter our DNA, it's going to change and alter the DNA of all generations behind us coming up to desire and to cherish freedom, that this never happens again. Because we've been played for fools. So there are many lifestyle changes that are going to have to be addressed by humanity as we wake up and we become consciously more aware of who we truly are and the divinity in which we express.
Yes.
Okay, so with the med beds, living to at least 100 years old should be a snap. In fact, we should live well into the 200s. Very capable, and it's possible that the younger people are, and they make these changes in lifestyle, and they continue to use the med beds. It could very well be that, they will live,
400.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, maybe going as far as 300 to 400 years or longer. We just simply don't know. But what this does for our generation and the generations behind us currently on the planet is it gives us an opportunity to not only live longer and to live healthier, but at the same time, we can use the wisdom we are acquiring now with all the disclosure and everything that's coming to light to make sure that we live longer so that we can lay down a real solid foundation for all these future generations yet to come. And the generations on this planet, as we pass the baton to them, we are sure they're ready for it, that we have not held back any knowledge, any information. We have not held back anything from them. And this would be the installment in the institution of the law of consistency, which every evolved star nation uses.
Yes.
We haven't. We have dumbed down future generations so that they would be malleable and controllable. This can no longer be allowed to occur. So, this is a very defining moment for humanity in so many ways, and we're just touching on some of them today. The frequency of the medbed creates energy patterns that accesses the DNA and organizes it. It says geometrically, but there's a lot more to it. You have to understand the body itself is a holograph. So is our DNA. How DNA even comes into existence is something everyone should understand. And the fact that when DNA moves and it transfers, it'll move from one place to another, but it goes into another dimension. It literally disappears from third density and reappears somewhere else in third density. That's who you are. That's who all of us are. The way it organizes, the DNA itself is an antenna, drawing frequencies and energies from the source, the quantum field. What you think is what you create. How you see yourself is who you become. The med beds will only amplify what you believe and think of yourself. So, what was it Aristotle said? Always know thyself?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's the first order of the day. No matter what the tech is, you have got to be solid about who you are. You must know who you are. You must love yourself. You must respect yourself. And in so doing, everyone around you will respect you because that's the vibration and the frequency you carry. If you don't, then that's what you're going to express. And that's what you're going to draw to you. Okay, home use. The med beds at this particular time, and I don't know how many years that will be, they will not be for sale in the home. They are, however, going to be used at very specific locations. In the beginning of the rollout, they will be rolled out by the military. They will be training people on these particular med beds. They will be training staff as things go along. They want to be sure that this is not used in a nefarious way or manner to harm humanity or humans or any life on this planet, because the med beds will actually treat all living things on the planet.
Including animals, right? And people's pets and everything.
Well, that's all living things, yeah. Yes. Yeah. So critters, be able to save your critters, your lizards. Okay. This
geckos.
Geckos. That's right. The little gecko lizard. They'll be here 300 years from now. Yep.
Exactly.
Oh my God. This, of course, will inspire people to, not only live longer, but to want to accomplish more things. Yes. This will, give everyone a breath of life so that they can go out and do the things they've always wanted to do, whether it's painting or inventing or architecture, or it doesn't matter. Whatever it is that people wanted to do, they will now be more inspired to do it because, you don't have this short window to accomplish everything that you wanted to, and being poisoned by the atmosphere and everything else that was done intentionally. So because you have a longer life, you will be inspired to do more, to live more, to experience more, and to teach what you know to your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren. Because if you have a longevity of 250 years or more, you will see your great-grandchildren, your great-great-great-grandchildren. You will be able to participate and be part of teaching them your family's history, the knowledge that you've acquired. The assistance of showing them what the old world was like and what the new world is and the promise that it holds. And you can participate in that knowledge, in that teaching, in that mentoring of multiple generations of your lineage to empower them. And you can be directly involved with all of that. This, of course, will inspire a lot more abundance and prosperity for not only yourselves, but your families, and you can provide and train your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren, and great-great-grandchildren in the ways of prosperity so that all future generations of your tribe will not need to be dependent on anyone else, especially government, for anything.
Yes.
The maximum, the timetable of treatments, maximum treatments needed. Now, this says no more than 3 times. This is currently what it is as the medbed technology continues to advance. That could change in the future, but as of right now, that's what it is. You can go to the medbed at least 3 times in a lifetime. But after that, apparently they say there's side effects. But again, like in all military technology, not that this is military, but it will be controlled and managed by the military. Anyone who's been a military contractor or a defense contractor We know that every single year that goes by, military technology advances at least 40 years. So, as of today, this is the maximum treatments allowed, but that, of course, can change, just so that you're aware of it.
And these treatments will be free.
All these treatments are going to be free.
Which is a huge deal. A huge deal.
And that will not only free up your time, but it'll also free up resources so that you can begin to move into a direction and go after what it is you truly want. There will be no more excuses to not do what you want and what you're capable of doing.
And many people, as I understand it, Alex, that are nurses or doctors, many of them will be retrained in the use of the holography and these advanced health techniques too. And the training will be also free. I understand.
Yes, that is correct. But they're going to be very, very specific and selective as to who they allow to manage and run and operate this technology.
Pure-hearted and high morals.
Well, yes, I think a genuine, true compassion for humanity is a single must, because there's no profit involved in this. So your motivation can't be the money. Your motivation has to be love and compassion for humanity, to want to see people healed. And if you don't have that, they won't let you near these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all technology, things can be abused.
Now, the vision that I get is as these centers open up, the personnel and the people training are not just humans, but they also will be human-looking, benevolent sisters and brothers from the stars. We could call them extraterrestrial.
It is implied that there will be alliance members associated with the use of this technology and the rollout of the technology. They haven't come right out and said ETs, but they have said alliance.
Yes.
And, technically we're talking about the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, most of them will look like us until we become accustomed to the idea that we are not alone. We've never been alone. And that we have family, that we have fellow groups of humanity, tribes of humanity that live in other worlds and in other places. And it has always been such.
Indeed. And isn't the positive white hat military the ones who are doing a lot of this training, building a lot of these med beds, both off-world and on-world?
This is what we're told.
Okay.
That it is the white hats who are doing this. And I am sure that they have been and are still being mentored themselves. Going out into space with the imperialistic psychology that everyone's taught on the surface, going out into space and realizing through confrontation and or face-to-face meetings with other extraterrestrial races, what they have learned is that we have been taught very regressive tendencies. We have been taught a very divided consciousness strategy that would pit us against anyone else. And that simply not only doesn't really exist out there amongst 85+% of the star nations out there, but that it is something that's going to be dramatically opposed by all these star nations. And through conversations, many of our space fleet and the Alliance members, they have come together, and humanity is about to learn that we belong to this huge, huge galactic family. And we have been isolated apart from them by groups that have controlled the surface of the planet by hiding underneath it. And they've held us back. They have dramatically held us back from not only our potential, but our true knowledge of who we truly are. And that's all coming to an end. And we spoke of that earlier about, going through different progressions of the knowledge and experiencing emotions attached to it. Okay, age regression. Age regression is something that the medbeds also do. They will take off at a minimum 20 years of your age. They will bring your body back to those original times, or your body back 20 years into its youth. It could be that it can take you even further back. The interesting thing to note, though, is that in going back, doing the age regression, what your body had at that particular time, the nutrients and the things that your body needed, you are going to have to supplement and add to your lifestyle now. Because much of the food that we eat today has lost a great deal of its nutritional value because of the way it's been harvested and grown through corporate mega companies.
Mm-hmm.
They basically have been selling filler for humanity. They haven't been, the nutrition isn't always there, in
Right.
other words. And in order for your body to stay in that age regression, you're going to have to do things differently, eat differently, take supplements. Many things are going to have to change as well with this. Farming's going to have to change. Nutritional knowledge is going to have to change. Many things are going to change with the advancement of these technologies, because these technologies, as wonderful as they are, they're going to show us who we are. And then the responsibility for you to maintain your physicality is going to be on you. And, that's a fascinating journey for all of us to take.
Yes.
It really is. If you haven't done it already, there won't be any more couch potatoes.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you realize how you've aged your body, you're going to look at things a lot differently, especially if your choice is to stay here and to participate.
Yes. Well, let's keep going over all the different treatment abilities, like what it can do.
The medbeds are said to be able to regrow organs. Now, if you know someone who is on the list for a heart transplant, that may not be necessary anymore. It may very well be that they would be able to be in a position to get into the med beds and they could regrow their heart. It can grow limbs. So we're looking at veterans who are amputees, children born without limbs that are paraplegic, those who have suffered from car accidents, virtually any reason, any experience that they've had where they have lost a limb. The med beds are said to be able to grow limbs. So not only organs, but limbs. So an entire industry would be looking to go out of business, and that would be the prosthesis industry. Because if you can grow organs, then or limbs, then the only reason you would use one is you would wait. You would be using one until it was your turn to go in for your appointment to sit in the med bed and have all those things repaired for you. And that's a very, very exciting prospect for a lot of people. Especially veterans who have lost legs and other limbs, and they want to be able to run and play with their children again, and just to feel whole after the tremendous sacrifice that they have made, for all of us. So
it can, according to the super soldiers I've interviewed who've had their limbs regenerated multiple times, it definitely does it, and it can do it anywhere with something minor in, say, an hour or a half hour regenerate. And it can almost do the entire body up to several hours. And then you have a brief period of time afterwards where they just want to make sure you're fine and you rest. And then they send them off to battle again. So it's very exciting. And I know the priorities have been the children first that had gone through horrific things, and then the military, and then civilians.
That's another thing. You talk about super soldiers being repaired and then going back into battle. With this conscious awakening of what is and what isn't, I think we can all look forward to a tremendous long future of no wars.
Yes.
What they have done to humanity has been devastating. The knowledge lost, the history lost, the lives lost. It's been tragic. It's been absolutely tragic. And, that is something that humanity, we just have to make sure that doesn't continue, because the toll has just been, it's dramatic. Okay.
It is. And so there's many things, folks, not only that what Alex mentioned, but addictions, chemo, get rid of damage from that, allergies. Your teeth can be regenerated, restraightened. Overweight, you can return to your ideal weight. Vision and hearing, scars disappear, orthopedic issues, basically depression, but you do have to do your own homework for the causes. I know that in extreme circumstances, they have mind swiping abilities for post-traumatic stress. And they can take out genetic issues that were defective from birth, like estrogen dominance or methylation issues. So it's incredible what these beds will do. And thicker hair, we like that. And eyesight improvement. And height changes. So that all sounds pretty good to me. How about you, Alex?
Oh, it does. And then how could you not be excited about some of those things? Especially being an elder, or vintage, as the young people like to call us, because they take for granted, they have all these things, and they haven't experienced losing those things.
Yes.
Yeah, where, we have the wisdom to understand that, that not everything stays always the same, that things do change. And we have an appreciation for that. So if we were able to get some of those things back, if not all of those things back, that would be nothing short of a miracle for many of us.
It would be.
The ability to learn information, multiple languages, multiple educational experiences, such as, geography, archaeology. These are all many things that we can learn at an extremely fast pace, without maybe having to spend years and years and years reading books. This knowledge can be shared with us in a more or less downloaded fashion, so that, before we even go to the schools, we already have a working knowledge of what it is we're going to be studying. And what that means is more time in the field, more times out of the classroom,
Yeah.
and in the field experiencing and doing the real work, which is a problem because a lot of children today are completely bored in classrooms. They want to be outside. They want to be expending their energy in their bodies because they're young. They have all this vitality. And there could be, we have to shift and change all of the educational programs to have the children more outside, more implementing, interacting in a physical way than sitting in a classroom for hours and hours and hours looking at pictures in a book.
I totally agree. And there's a few experimental schools that are using that rather than just theory looking at a book. They're starting apprenticing. You can apprentice in 3 different subjects during the year. That's what I always saw as true education. And with these downloads where you can learn new languages in, an hour, 2 hours, and longer living, we're going to be able to serve, not out of survival, but to serve out of vitality, following our heart's desire.
Right.
One of the quotes of your Andromedan mentors that I've always really, really appreciated, and it's a great waker-upper for everyone that you shared many times, is when the Andromedan said, "Why? I can prove to you that you've been programmed, humans." And you asked why, and they said, "Because you've never asked yourself this question: why do I need to pay for a planet I'm born on?" And that is profound. I think that really shifts a lot of people.
It's actually, why do you have to pay to live on a planet you were
live on a planet? There you go.
That you were born on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So
nobody else has to do that.
Yes, exactly. All the things that we're just automatically programmed in that we don't reevaluate are all going to shift. And it's very exciting. Do you believe that we are now fully, because we've been dealing with the temporal timelines and wars, that we are now fully stabilized in the more positive timeline?
Yes.
Yes, I do too.
We're on one timeline now.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's heading into the future. It is not heading for a brick wall. It is not heading for Armageddon. It is not heading to the apocalypse. It isn't the end of the world. It is none of that. That is not our destiny.
That's what I feel too. I wanted to mention that the idea of the possible rollout is that everyone will be notified. There will be a number down the line that you can call. You will set up an appointment, and maybe you should mention a little bit about, we'll be shifting to quantum computer. And this also gets into one of the questions I wanted to ask you later, which was the whole reset.
Once that goes online and it's up, then the quantum financial system has its platform. And even though it's being used now, that will take it globally. That will make it global. And a lot of things that we do every day, business-wise, and personally, will shift. Personal banking, private banking, commercial banking. There'll be a lot of changes, and it might take years for everything to shift over, because it has to be done in stages, because there's a learning curve for everyone on how this works. But the beautiful thing about this system is that your knowledge, your information, your data is completely safe. And it is a blockchain ledger. In other words, organized crime, drug trafficking, the movements of money that are all associated with corruption will cease to exist.
Mm-hmm.
because everything's exposed.
Yes. And I believe they're going to be using the quantum computers also for the intake of everyone's health, and then determining the locations for people's treatment on the med beds, et cetera. So it's going to be cross.
Well, there's no guarantee that it's going to be up yet. I think when you go into the med bed facility, to the med bed center, and it's time for your appointment, there will be a setup where they're using a quantum computer that's connected to the med bed. It is not a global web type of thing yet. I don't know if it'll actually get there. These are all decisions humanity will have to make when those things come to the forefront. The first thing is one, get ourselves healthy. Two, fully engage and understand everything that's been going on. What is our history? How did we get to this place? We need to understand how we got to this place so that it never happens again. And we know how to protect ourselves to make sure something like this does not happen again.
Yes, which requires that we develop discernment through going through the experience and not denying it or ignoring it. And I know you have some ideas about this, because let's talk about empowering people. What do you feel is the most important focus for our audience to have and do for themselves right now?
If I could share, the most important thing would be self-love. We all have to have an appreciation for who we are, what we've learned, what we've experienced, what we've all been through. And in the light of everything that's been going on behind the scenes, which we know virtually little about, the control, the manipulation, and the agenda that has been working against humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, the fact that you survived all of it, you deserve a Purple Heart. You deserve a Medal of Honor, because you have no idea what you've been up against. Yeah. And I mean, most of us don't. And it doesn't, Earth is a really tough school anyway. Third density is a very tough school because it's so dense. And it doesn't matter how much you've screwed up or you think you've screwed up. It's all about acquiring self-knowledge. It's all about learning relationship. And every relationship we've ever had is always a mirror back to us. Mm-hmm. And if you don't see that, then you've missed that chapter.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
Sometimes there is no blame at all. And in most cases, there is no blame. Sometimes, I don't know the psychological words here, but the bottom line is this: wisdom comes from experience, and experience comes from bad judgment. And we've all been there. We've all been there. Uh-huh. But at some point, we reach an age where we've been to the circus. We understand that we've been to the circus. And when we grow to a certain age and we no longer become a bad example, we suddenly have all this wisdom to spout and to share with everyone else. And that should be appreciated, not only by everyone else, but especially by yourself. And to understand that you've gotten to this place. And the reason you've gotten to this place and you now have all this knowledge is because of all the people that have been in your life and all the journeys and experiences that you've had up until this moment. And you have to give yourself some kudos for that. You have to honor yourself that you've had these experiences. And what's that line at the end of The Wizard of Oz? It only matters how much you're loved by others, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what success is that not only you love yourself, but that you're loved by others. That's the measure of success. It's not money. It's not a bank account. It's not a digital currency. None of that you take with you. What you take with you are not only the experiences, but the resonant energy of love that you have acquired in your specific lifetimes. You know, the love that you withhold is the pain that you carry lifetime after lifetime. Drop the mic. That's it.
Baba boom. Yep.
You know?
It really is. And I agree with you that the two important things are, you know, to practice self-love and then to also consistently mutually respect others, right?
Yes.
That's another really important thing. You
Well,
know,
everybody's a mirror. We're all mirrors for each other.
Yes.
And, you know, I mean, I realize looking at the world today, trying to imagine a world where everyone has absolute mutual respect is a real challenge. I get that. And in this particular time, it is, especially with the battle between the light and the dark going on, not only around us, but underneath us and in between us, you know, on a physical dimensional energy level. But future generations, they're not going to have this challenge. They're not going to have the challenge that we have right now because the world will be changing. It's going to be different.
Yes.
Humanity's going to be more enlightened. And again, I want to stress this. We are on the forefront of that. We are the new forefathers and foremothers of a global expansion of consciousness and a unifying of humanity into one race. You know, we can all keep our cultures because they're all unique and they're all really cool. But what's important is, okay, you have different cultures, but we're still one race. You just see things differently, you dance differently, you dress differently, you eat different foods. That's all awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Keep that.
Yes.
But living together on this planet, we have to be one race.
Yes. We're all earthlings.
Terrans, actually.
Terrans, yes.
Terrans. We're all Terrans.
We're all Terrans, for sure. Well, and much more, as you know, from the DNA. So you wrote a book quite a while ago, Defending Sacred Ground, which I loved. And it may not be that available for people, but I'm sure you're going to work on rewriting it. However, in there is a section where the Andromedans were speaking of leadership. And I know for us as part of the transition team, everyone here, many people who are learning more about self-love and healing themselves do not feel that they qualify as a leader. And I believe everyone has leadership in them. So I'm wondering if you would read that section in that book where they, if you have it handy, where they would talk about what leadership is in their viewpoint as Andromedans.
I will do so. And thank you for bringing that up. I think that's it's very important. I also want to add before we read leadership that, ladies and gentlemen, even the extraterrestrials believe in a creator. They understand that some presence, not only created the space, which we call the universe, but it also created all the dimensions. And that is not technology any ET race has. at all. So there is a presence. And, whatever you've gone through, it's never too late to just acknowledge that presence. Wherever that journey takes you, just understand that the soul is and will always be, even in a state of denial, part of that presence. You'll never be detached from the presence. No matter how far you go into a state of denial, you will always be part of that presence. Leadership. This was given to me by Mornay. What is important this present time in your world is to know the pioneer leaders of your past who greatly influenced your world today are removed from the hearts of the people. The leaders of today, this present moment, should share and embrace the same faith, philosophy, and objective as the people. They, the leaders, should thereby raise each of the governed to his or her own level, ascending to the principles of consistency from beginning to end. These mistakes, as we have studied and observed, are that throughout your history, hero worship and fame-seeking has risen to the point of the idea your leaders are great and the general populace is ignorant and powerless. This concept in your country contradicts a true democracy and is wrong. So it shall be that individuals must and will awaken and unite voluntarily. Some will be the artists, scientists, and others from all walks of life. They will become teaching leaders of the people with whom they are working directly and will teach all men and women to be leaders. At the same time, it is also important that those who support them must become leaders themselves. To be a leader in your world, we would only suggest that the only requirements be simple and evolve from the real essence of mankind. Leaders should be in absolute faith in their humanhood, declaring always the greatness of God and self-responsibility. They should also have a strong sense of responsibility for themselves and those that they teach. A leader should always love his people, protect them, encourage them warmly into their own power and humanhood. The leader's sense of responsibility will deepen by his affection of his role as teacher, father, and or mother. When a leader lacks mercy or compassion, they will be self-serving and irresponsible. And a leader-teacher should always strive and be broad-minded. He should always try to be capable of understanding his members' needs and individual situations and putting himself in their place. A leader should practice gentleness and forbearance and be determined to hear the problems and teach guidance and self-determination to any person to establish self-faith and happiness. A leader always needs to be impartial. He must not be swayed by his own feelings or self-serving considerations. Always eager to give a fair hearing to reasonable suggestions, but firm in protesting self-serving goals or mistaken views, even to his seniors. Leaders should be careful of those who flatter them, as not to cater to their personal agendas. Leaders should cultivate the sense to spot cheap tricks, lies, and sneakiness. He must also put the right person in the right place and be courageous about it. The idea is to build long-term integrity in all aspects of life and leadership. Always acknowledge the inconspicuous efforts of others, as all souls are part and contribute to the whole. Your leader should also have self-confidence, courage, and decisiveness. Leaders must believe in their ability to protect his members and help them advance to self-responsibility so that all may become determined. Those persons who have done the inner work on the path of being a true human being acquire wisdom and are true leaders. They always have faith in themselves. And those who walk the path of heart will discover that through faith emerges wisdom. And this same faith enables the leader to employ his wisdom effectively in all situations. Courage is indispensable to the leader. Leadership is no place for cowardice. Always strive to advance wisdom and courage. Building an honest and healthy race of human beings means producing a world of leaders of the true law of oneness. Development of faith, integrity, and character is both the starting point and the end result. This will make all people capable human beings. Every child born in your world is a new opportunity to build an honest and real world. Leaders need not criticize each error on the part of their members or staff. A leader should praise them for what they have done well and capably. There will be other people who will criticize. Being a leader or becoming a leader does not mean you have perfect faith or wisdom. These are lifelong pursuits. Being a leader is to develop people and to help people into self-responsibility, spiritual maturity, and the freedom to cultivate voluntary introspection. Mankind can develop remarkably, even under adverse circumstances. When Earth awakens to her mission and towards her great objective, we will have full faith that you all will be successful and a source of great pride to us all. That last statement there, ladies and gentlemen, should comfort you and tell you that we are going to be successful. You must understand and you must know and you must feel that there are other powers here, powers of light that are not only encouraging us, but they are willing us to step forward into our own personal power and to be who we truly are, and then to teach that to future generations. I know we can do this. You know,
yes.
If you look at the history of humanity and all the things that have happened, we keep moving forward, bearing our children along the way. We never give up. Life finds a way, and we have to fully embrace that and know that that's us. That life, that presence is coming through us. That's what we're doing. So let's do it intentionally now, with a lot more intent.
Yes.
Where are you going to go from there?
It's beautiful, beautiful summation. And thank you so much for sharing the Andromedan wisdom. And I'm sharing with as many people as I know and the younger generation saying, be prepared to use whatever skills you have to step forward in an uncorruptible way, because there's going to be a lot of vacancies as well as we make arrests and other beings are quietly retiring, all the CEOs by the thousands, for a variety of reasons. We need people to step forward. So please honor that you are a leader and you have been in these coming generations to do that. And we will have councils again, I'm sure, because, you know, that's often in all these independent federations on Terra, we will have the appropriate people that show a proven track record and that have, when scanned, have a very good developed consciousness with a moral intent and a pure heart.
That's exactly right. We're going to go back to the basics.
Mm-hmm.
Local government, local decisions, local direction, local input. Everyone will be involved. It's called a community.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's going to be involved. There will not be anything like what we have now, where 2,000 miles away, 453 men and women are making decisions of things they have absolutely no clue about and no authority to do it whatsoever anyway. So there's going to be a lot of dramatic change, but it's all good because we will be able to manage things locally. And, the better we do that, the more we do that, the less government we actually need because we learn to take care of our own. Okay.
And we accept the responsibility as co-creators with Source to
exactly.
do so.
That's exactly right.
Right on. Well, Alex, I'm so appreciative of you being here. You're such an honest, humble, and indomitable spirit. So will you share with people how they can locate you? I have done one-on-one privates with Alex that are lovely. And he also has very inexpensive, I might say, 2-hour Q&A webinars every couple weeks. So where do they go to find you?
AlexCollier.org.
You want to spell that?
AlexCollier.org.
Okay.
And there's stuff there. And if, James runs the website at JP, they are posting all the videos, many of which haven't been seen in years and years and years, back up on a YouTube channel. And, it spans the full 30 plus years. And I'm getting ready to send him a box of VHSs that go back even further than no one has seen. That's because there are 3 or 4 people in the audience. But there's some really good slide presentations and stuff. So
I remember those days.
Exactly. The back room of a bookstore, the back room of a bookstore or something. Yeah.
Well, you are very humble, and I know you've been through a lot, and people are refinding you and initially finding you, and you are considered by all of us an honored elder. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you.
And I just love working with you, and thank you so much for supporting our community in this way.
Well, Marilee, thank you for everything you've done. You continue to do. And thank Dan, who's behind the scenes working all the gizmos.
Yes.
For making it happen and being the stellar individual that he is throughout the years. We all belong to the Mutual Admiration Club now, so I appreciate it.
Oh, okay. Well, onward and upward, and all the best. And we'll be doing another show soon, love.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
I want to bring forward Elena Danaan, who has a medbed update and personal story to share with all of us. Many of you already know Elena as a multi-talented professional archaeologist, epigraphist, artist, best-selling author, shaman, mystery school teacher. And I won't go on from there. Okay. I'm trying to behave. Okay. So welcome back, Elena, and thank you for joining in the show to share again what you know about medical beds. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Marilee. I'm so happy to be of your adventure today. Fantastic.
Well, good.
Well, in February 2021, the moon of the Earth was taken back from bad hands by the Earth Alliance, and the moon was liberated. The Greys and the Dark Fleet outpost there were cast out from the moon, and the facilities were given back to Earth, but to the Earth Alliance. What is the Earth Alliance? Quickly, it's a military alliance between, it has started by the US Navy, but now there are many countries, militaries in it, and the forces of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, the Earth Alliance. They hold the facilities now on the moon. Well, in July 2020, a few months later, the Jupiter agreements were made between different space programs, secret space programs of Earth. Positive space programs, not those who are working with, the planetary corporate, etc. Not these ones, the good progressive space programs working with Solar Warden, for instance, things like that. So they made agreements. It started by the Artemis Accords on Earth, and this developed in space, and agreements were made with the Galactic Federation of Worlds for further cooperation in space. Because as we start to know now and learn, is that in the Galactic Federation of Worlds already had agreements and were working with the military since the 1950s. Anyway, the moon. On the moon since July 2021, the Galactic Federation started providing technology to be developed on the moon, because on Earth it wasn't yet ready, because on Earth we still have corrupted humans at the head of some governments. So we cannot rule any programs really globally on Earth as long as human we won't have stood up and got rid of them. Anyway, so it's on the moon actually that this is happening. The Lunar Operation Command, which was before in the hands of the Dark Fleet, now is in the hands of the Earth Alliance, and medical scientific programs are being developed. The Galactic Federation is training Earth specialists, doctors, scientists, to use these new medical technologies, such as medbeds mainly. And it's been produced there a lot. And slowly introduced, it has already started to be introduced on Earth. But they can do that really very strategically, because, even if the bad ETs have been removed from Earth, the bad humans are still there, speaking very simply, because it's now to the humans to do their job, So once we've stood up and against the tyranny that is here and just taken our power back, the people of Earth, then all this technology is going to blossom everywhere. It's going to be like, wow, it's all planned, prepared. It's all, they know where it's going to be, and it's just waiting. That's it. That the cabal is removed. The heads have fallen. At the heads of the cabal, there was all these nefarious ETs. They've been removed. So now it's only super panicked humans. The dying beast trying to bite as many people as possible before dying. So that's what's happening at the moment. It seems horrible, but that's the dying beast.
That have been trapped.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where it is with the ruling out of the medbed, as I know for the moment. It's all planned where it's gonna be. All just the people in power need to be removed, and the ETs are not going to do it for us, because it's our job to stand up against our tyranny. It's our job. They're not going to seal our victory. People want ETs to save us, but they've already done a lot. They've removed all the bad ETs. They've cleared the underground. So now we need, to do a part of the job as well.
That's a good point. And I have a question that just someone wanted me to ask you, and I'd forgotten in a previous show, that has to do with this, because as you know, people had to become aware of what's going on, break their,
Yes.
keep their innocence, but break their naivete, so to speak. And then, because nothing's ever learned through denial or ignoring ever. And so there's people are still catching up with that. So I know it's a huge operation. And one question I have is, I know that for sure we're on the positive timeline. For sure we are. Do you have any idea what percentage of mass consciousness it took to ensure that? Do you have any guesstimate of that?
No, I know a few is, the butterfly effect. A few is necessary. There's actually it's scientific mathematical calculation that I unfortunately I don't have under my eyes, but that a certain number of people trigger, a resonance. If a certain number of people generate a positive resonance, it's going to be exponential in the rest of the group. It's how physics works. So it didn't need a lot.
Transcendental meditation, I think it was a really low number, like 3 to 15%. But I know that through the disclosure movement, some said you have to have at least 51%. But I don't think this is exact like
no. I don't. No, I'd say 10% maybe is enough. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's enough because it's snowball effect,
yes.
And
exponential.
Yeah. Exponential, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. You wake up 5 people, each people will wake up 5 others. That's how it works.
Right. Now, I know this is a huge plan. It's going on for a while of the rollout and the locations. So I imagine that there are going to be special locations with many med beds set up in these locations and possibly some advanced hospitals. Have you anything you can share in terms of, and then it's going to be across the world for sure.
The locations cannot be disclosed. I don't know them. They do not tell the locations to me because it would put me in jeopardy.
Exactly.
The reason is if the locations of were going public, the cabal would know exactly where to hit. What hospital to blow up before. No, so it's strategy.
That's strategy.
So you never give the enemy where you're going to put your no. So we won't know the locations until we've sorted out our things.
We experience like a lack of people available for certain jobs like engineering on Earth and things. Is it true that for the first time, instead of humans being slave taken to the moon or Mars, that certain scientists, engineers, and medical beings have been flown there to manufacture these med beds?
You need to enroll in the military, and it's by the military that you can be redirected to the Earth Alliance, and then the Earth Alliance, and the space programs, Space Command especially, gather all the path to go there. So a lot is done on the moon. It's a training ground because the moon is secure. There's no cabal there. It's free. It's a free world. It's us. And so it's on the moon where people are paid, of course.
Yeah.
They go there.
Yeah. So, and they're using the Dark Fleet base on the far side, right? Yeah, because it's such a huge space, right? Do you want to go over just really briefly, if we have any new listeners on this show, when we say Earth Alliance, the 3 different groups that are involved in that, just so that they know? Isn't it U.S., Navy or Air Force, extraterrestrials working, but mostly humans? Anyway, you go ahead with what you know.
Well, the Earth Alliance started to be created in the 1950s. When under President Dwight Eisenhower, that's him who started it with the Galactic Federation of Worlds. The U.S. Navy, a branch of the U.S. Navy, I remind to keep in mind that when we say U.S. Navy, it's not the whole U.S. Navy, it's one group. It's very compartmentalized, everything. U.S. Air Force is not U.S. Air Force, the whole. That's it. It's just so a group, a part, a cell, collaborated with the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and it started in the Pentagon, and it develop the collaboration. I advise people to read the book from William Tompkins, Selected by Extraterrestrials. It's a fantastic book that tells a lot about it. So that started there. It was the start of the Earth Alliance. And then US Air Force joined recently, but also other countries have joined in current of time, it's international now, the Earth Alliance. Not all countries are in it, but a lot. So, and it's a military alliance between contingent. So you have different branches in the Earth Alliance. You have technology, medical, or building crafts, space force, but you have also the military super soldiers, fighting with the super soldiers from the Galactic Federation of Worlds. Together, that's them. That's the lads who cleared the undergrounds. So that's them, for instance, and who liberated the moon. All of this. That's what the Earth Alliance is.
Thank you for that. And then just really briefly, the Galactic Federation of Worlds. That incorporates what, like 5,000, 6,000 civilizations? Tell just a little bit about the members there.
Oh my God, more. More. There are hundreds of thousands of civilizations in member of the Galactic Federation of Worlds, and it grows with time. There are different associations and groups in this galaxy. The Galactic Federation is the biggest, and just it's the law keeper. It's the ones who look after the balance in the galaxy and justice. Rights, Prime Directive, all of that.
That's wonderful. Okay, thank you for that clarity, just for people, so they can put some substance to the names if it's the first time they've been hearing the names. So now Myra, who is one of the incredible scientists from Series B who helped rescue you, and she's an implant specialist and a scientist. Didn't she in your book have a lot of things to say about what it's like to treat children on the medbeds?
Yes. Myra, if she was working on Earth, her specialty would be exobiologist. So she does that that's her task. And she specialized in devices. We could call it transhumanism also. It's a positive way. The device is incorporated in biological bodies, technological devices, etc. So I wrote it in my last book, We Will Never Let You Down. It was in October 2020. The dumps, the deep underground military bases, were in the process still to be cleared and liberated by the Earth Alliance. And in these undergrounds, they found a lot of different things: slaves, human slaves that had been liberated, but a lot of hybrids. So the hybrids were the product of Gray's genetic manipulations. These hybrids couldn't be taken care of on Earth because they need a special care. So they were taken all on one of the motherships of the Galactic Federation of Worlds in orbit of Earth. And Myra was working on this one. And on this project, I wanted to share with you, I'm going to read a page of my book where she described to me what they were doing as rescuing these children. I need to put my 3D glasses. Yes. So that I'm going to read that because it will tell you about medbeds, the techniques they employ there. So relating to the hybrids, but it will tell you a lot. So here we go. Here's what she said to me. Well, we have the regeneration tanks filled with a special life support gel, or goo as you may call it. It functions with holographic cellular regeneration, and it uses a person's genetic code to heal the damaged cells. We can scan a body to retrieve healthy cells from an earlier time in its life and use these to replace the damaged ones. It can restore limbs in just a few hours. Then we have the medical pods, or as called on Terra, med beds. It uses holographic technology powered by crystalline plasma fields. Frill is the life force, and sound frequency. We use a different equipment relative to the races hybridized with them. The rescued hybrids are mainly crossbreeds with types of greys and more, and it requires different technologies to rebalance their physiology into a more stable and livable state so they can survive. The life support gel needs to be slowly injected with molecules of oxygen, and when they are ready, we evacuate the gel from their systems and activate the lungs and the breathing system. This is painful for them, but relatively quick. And then the more difficult work begins. Regaining consciousness after having been maintained in a dormant state, they are brutally aware and they panic. They have absolutely no clue of where they are, who they are, and who we are. The only beings they were able to see during their captivity, for those who had the ability to see, were greys. When they see humans for the first time, they are terrified. They don't know what's happening to them. So as soon as they wake up, we put them in medical pods and fill their mind with calming frequency waves. Through these waves, we transfer data. First, to teach them how to speak. Language takes a few days, depending on the subjects activating the learning functions of the brain for the first time. They need to activate their vocal cords too. They hear, see, and smell a whole new environment. It is very traumatic for them, and this is very difficult work for us. Once they're able to talk, to breathe, and to be calm, we teach them how to walk. We inject substances in their muscles and use frequency technology to activate their reflex functions. When they start to walk, it is a long process. We provide for the needs of each of them relative to what their system is meant to absorb. Many workers are humanoids on this science station, so it is a problem because they are scared of us. We need to bring them into a trusting mindset. They go naturally towards the Emerthers and the Egaroth because they look like them. But this is not an easy job. Emerthers and Egaroth are great with children, really great with them. So we have Egaroth scientists because you need to be qualified. Not everyone can participate in a contact. It could spoil all the efforts. Then the children are ready to socialize and are not afraid of humanoids anymore. We insert them into some sections of the station as part of the insertion program. They eat with us, play with our children, and learn how to socialize. Once the socialization stage is validated, then they're ready to go. So that is how they use. There are two types of med beds there, and I suppose there are other different types. They use a regeneration pod, which is filled with a liquid containing all the nutriments and the minerals to regenerate the body, but also they fill it with energy, this gel. It's filled with, Myra said, the life force. Yes. And also they scan the body to an earlier stage in their life, to bring back the healthy cells and to repair what's missing or broken. And that's interesting. And the second one is a holographic bed. It's a work of healing, and that acts more, you have more possibility to act on the consciousness and the mind as well, to repair traumas. And this works with sound frequencies.
Is that from the Zenate Andromedans, that advanced?
Oh, the Zene or Zenate, yes, they have they master this technology. So they master this technology. So the Galactic Federation of Worlds put everything in common, all the technologies in common. So that's why we are starting to benefit of this technology, because we are in a probation period at the moment for membership.
I can't imagine why.
Because we need to do the last step, which is standing up for ourselves.
Yes. Exactly. Become the leaders we actually are. Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. But have forgotten. Mm-hmm. That is beautiful. So the Andromedan ones work really well with post-traumatic stress. Because I know not all the beds do. And they talk about you still have to do consulting work and counseling work afterwards. You still have to do your work. And of course, we know, or at least I've heard, that there's a lot of mind wiping too of the memories that are the most traumatic and like what happened to you. And then they'll bring them back slowly at your ability to handle them or whatever. Would you agree with that? Is there anything?
Yes. Totally. As Myra explains in my book, what I say, you first repair the deep trauma with sound, and frequencies, and then once the best of it is done, you have reinserting the person into a normal life after the trauma, because you have to readapt to life when you have a trauma healed, because it's like a new birth. Things are going to be different, So yes, it's important a follow-up, of course.
It is. It's very, very important. Thank you for that clarity. Yeah. It's just so exciting. I can't wait till these come out. Now, for your personal experience, you did share with us a while back on one of our shows together. And for the purpose of this show, so we have all the MedBed information up to date on one show, I'd love for you to once again take people through the amazing experience you had of when Thorhan initially hinted to you and what went on from there, so everyone can walk through, be in your shoes during that. Okay? Would you be willing to do that?
Okay. Yes, that's very interesting. I need to go from the start of this story. You'll understand why. I'll try to be fast. When I was abducted as a kid, I was put two empty matrices to be able to receive eggs. It was empty. It was just two pouches. And when I reached puberty, young age later, these things just wanted to be eliminated by the body. So it started to trigger my body, and the body start to react, to reject them, and they start to grow. And so these two pouches, they were in my uterus, and they formed like two big things. And
reptilian
so
in nature, were they reptilian?
Yes.
Yes.
So my body, which is not, just rejected them suddenly, And the thing, the way where it was, it couldn't be flushed. One was on, an ovary, or the other one was on the other side. So I had a surgery, and to remove them. But once they remove the first one, they make a whole fuss about it in France. The doctors, the surgeons, they were very weird about it. They want all to be there to see what was going to come out. That was weird. And then they were very secretive. Oh no, you can't see it. I want to see the stuff. No, you can't see it because no, we burned it.
Yes. Well, in a lot of hospitals, there's implanted doctors that are part of the whole overall cabal scheme, whose job it is to make sure and keep track of all of this stuff. So yeah.
Yes, totally that. And the second one, they couldn't remove it. They said to me, we could remove it, but we would have removed everything in you. So maybe you want to have children. I say, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Then after my surgery, I was beamed up. It was oh my God. I was beamed up on the ship, and Myra checked me and she said, oh, you're fine. You're fine. And I said, what about the other thing? She said, and then she said to me, you will be guided. We will send someone to you to guide you to remove it yourself because you need to do this. I said, why? You can. Just you can like this. And she said, no. You need to remove it yourself. You will understand later why. Okay, that's unfair. Well, and what's interesting? So after my surgery, I had a big scar, and it wasn't really nice. And when they brought me back, my friends, the scar was just nearly disappeared. It was like a hair. It was like, poof, it was healed, totally healed. That was interesting. Myra put this device on my belly, and it just, with a red light, and just, it was gone. Incredible.
Lasers and colors and stuff. Yeah.
So 2 months passed, and then I was in France, and I went in a garage to bring my car, and the last thing you wait to see, you expect to see in the waiting room of a dirty country rural garage, the countryside, is a tall, blonde, beautiful, beaming young lady with long blonde hair gracefully coming in. I went, wow. And she sits across from me and she stares at me, and I went like, okay, what's going on? She stays 10 minutes, then she stands up. She says nothing. She stands up and she walks out, but passing in front of me. She comes to me and she walks past me and she goes to the door, and she drops at my feet a leaflet. And she goes, and I went, oh, okay. I want to go to oh, you dropped something? She was gone. She wasn't there anymore. She was beamed, you know.
Yeah. Did you receive any telepathy from her at that point?
I don't know if it was telepathy. It could have been. I felt an intense radiance from her into me, like she was looking into me. Maybe she was trying to communicate, and I was like terrified, you know. Like, wow, what she was she? And she was stunning. And then she was gone. So I ended, okay. I looked at the leaflet and that's weird. And it was the address of a clinic in France. It was written, this clinic, it's a special experimental technique. It wasn't called med bed. It was called differently, but it was a med bed. Experimental. It comes from America. It's just a testing site, and we look for guinea pig to experiment on people. Mm-hmm. Trial, yeah. And I went, and this, and it was written, this thing can do this. It can heal tissues. It could do anything that the med bed does. There was a list, and it can disintegrate by sound tumors and things like that. And it's exactly what I had. Not a tumor, but it described, it was written in French. Okay, wait a minute. Would that be the sign? Yes. Mm-hmm. Myra. It wasn't her. It was someone else. She said, we will send you someone, you know. Anyway, but there's a lot of ETs based on Earth, you know. So I took an appointment. I was selected, and a few months later, I was admitted there. I arrived in the morning, and I left in the evening. They put me, so it looked like a CAT scan, you know, these tubes, mm-hmm. But you don't go in there was kind of, it looked like an egg. And there was a bed in it. And it was a transparent
mattress kind
board.
of water.
Yes. And under there was water under it. And they told me it was water. And they were under the water. There were, I don't know, because they gave me a drug for me not to panic, because it was very important that I didn't move. So they drugged me. They injected me a drug. And she told me, we are going to inject you a drug to knock you, but you are still aware, but you just like super happy. You're super happy, and then you don't move, and just like, which is interesting. It was the same, not the super happy side, but when you are abducted by aliens, you're like this. You can't move, but you're super conscious. Except that fear was replaced by deep joy.
Yeah.
So I was lying there on my bed.
You're naked and cleansed at that point?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yes. Totally cleansed and naked, and put on my belly on this thing with a blanket over me. And they are, I didn't really see, it was like tube laser, shooting laser stuff, like tubes under it, and different directions. There was kind of a tray underneath, and this not a tray, it was like a box, plexiglass box. I don't remember exactly. Lots of transparent things. So they went behind the glass, and the lady, she said, okay, I'm going to shoot at you sound frequencies, so you don't move. And it's very surgical precision. We are going to shoot at you precise sound frequencies to where we are going to destroy your tumor. And so she said, she said, I'm going to laser shoot at you. So she was laughing to relax me. And that's what they did. They shoot sound frequencies and they destroyed it. There was nothing left. It was disintegrated, like, teleported, like, I don't know. The thing was gone. No scar, nothing, and no pain. And I was brought back into the bed, just wake up from the drug, like, and then I was able to go home. Nothing, no pain, nothing. I was feeling good. And I learned later that was a med bed, and that I needed to go through this process to be able to tell it today.
Yes.
That people know. And I testify that these things exist. And it was already in experimentation it was in the 2000, year 2000.
France.
Oh,
and that healing center you couldn't even find today, right? Because they obviously closed it down.
I tried. Oh my God. The first thing I went on the internet, I tried to find this clinic. It's gone. Doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I really looked into it. The clinic is gone. It's not there.
Do this so QT. I have a couple questions. One military person said that on some of the med beds, they don't give you a drug to sedate you. They're able to raise the natural melatonin in your body that actually puts you in that state. Isn't that fascinating? Alex and I discovered that the other day, and we forgot to mention that because I thought that is totally clever, right?
Yeah.
Just raise the melatonin, which is what people need when they sleep, and
Oh no, I was unlucky. I had the needle, the thing.
And you only felt warmth, right? No pain, but you felt a little warmth from the shooting. You didn't even feel.
Yes, a little warm and a little tingling, but it was agreeable. It wasn't. It was like, you feel something, but that's it. It makes
total sense because from the cymatics videos and all that, we know that sound changes form and creates form. And so, now you probably don't know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask anyway, because I know you have introduced the world to using tuning forks, of which I've bought a lot and I'm very grateful for. Thank you. And I think you're going to have a show coming up on that too. And,
yes.
so with Soma Energetics, and they use sulfaryl geotones. Now, did you happen, I doubt you had the presence of mind at the time, to ask them if they could even give you the specific frequencies used for that?
I think, no, I didn't have the question in mind, because at the time, it was 20 years ago, and I wasn't even into sound and stuff. I was an archaeologist. I was like, but I don't think they will give it, because these frequencies are killer frequency.
Yes.
It kills living cells. It disintegrates them. So you must not know, because it must not fall in the wrong hands. Only people qualified and certified to do this need to use these frequencies. So I think that all makes sense.
It does. I think everything, we can create illnesses through frequency. We can heal it through frequency. Royal Rife and many, many other incredible inventors discovered that. I believe everyone has most of those frequencies, but I think the unique combination, right? Like they're using on the hydras, we won't get into that, are really, really, really tricky. So I figured they probably didn't give them to you. That looks like a little miniature.
That's good fun. That's called Spooky 2. It's a Rife frequency machine. Yes. You can install the program on your computer. You have different programs to treat different things. And I'm just getting into this. And Rife frequency machine, Spooky. It's a little ghost. You see that? That's it. Spooky 2. Yeah, but that is a technology that is available. You can buy it online, and you have different accessories, patches, and anything to heal yourself. And you have so many programs in it using sound frequencies. You'll be impressed. So I recommend everyone to use this. It's safe. There's a program, you follow the steps, and it's totally safe. And it's a portable.
Which is lovely.
Bed. Yes, and that's the future. That's Spooky Rife frequency. Yeah. I recommend that.
RIFE. Yeah, I used a bigger one in 2000 when I was healing myself naturally of cancer very fast. And that had at least like 500 frequencies to choose from, and was based on, quote, diseases and all of that. I know that super soldiers, they don't like to talk about it, really don't, but there's a smaller version, handheld, that they use for self-treatment and all of those kind of things. And I think we're going to eventually have all of that on what's equivalent to iPhones practically. We'll be able.
Yes. Oh, yes. Myra, she has this device. She used it on me. I saw her, it's like a big pen. And it's, it does this job. Yeah.
So that's an incredible story. And we can see why they wanted you to do that, right? And that it also gives them trials to do. And so that you can speak from your personal experience. Because until recently, a lot of the compartmentalized soldiers couldn't really talk about it. So that's lovely to hear all of that. Thank you so much. Now, is there anything else you'd like to share regarding advanced technology or consciousness that is popping in for you before we close for today's show?
Well, Marilee, there is something that I find very important that I want to say. This technology is being introduced. It is going to come sooner or later. Whatever comes in between, it's just postponing it. So the thing is, it is coming. It is here already. It's going to be available sooner or later. That's a fact. This fact is not going away. Okay. Now, let us not make the mistake to rely on waiting for it. Okay. My point is, I know few people personally who have stopped taking their treatments in the hope that they would benefit of these med beds. which never arrived in their town and they died.
You're talking medical treatments.
Medical treatments.
And drugs.
Okay. Yes. So we've been doing without med beds until now. Okay. If you are following a treatment that is maintaining you alive or curing a life-threatening illness, please continue this treatment. You will always be able to stop the treatments at the moment you pass the door of the room where the med bed is. But until you pass this door, take your treatments. Don't change anything. Also, this planet is in harmony with all living organisms. It belongs to a same living organism, global. We borrow these bodies who are part of this planet. This planet provides everything we need to heal these bodies, plants, minerals, everything. So that's one thing. Med beds or not med beds, we need always to keep this in mind. Okay, to just be in tune with our environment. And so my point is, do not change your routine to heal yourself if you're taking a treatment just because you've been told med beds were coming. No, you will have the luxury to stop your treatment when you pass the door of the room where the med bed is, not before, please. That would not be reasonable. That's my point I want to say.
Oh, that's so important. It is really important because even with the use of med beds, from what Alex was speaking earlier in the show, and what I know as a holistic health practitioner is you can then get off med beds and screw yourself back up again by your lifestyle choices, right? And so,
yeah.
Right? Go ahead. You were going to.
Yeah, food, healthy lifestyle, med bed or not, continue it, Yeah.
Yeah. Minerals, supplements, keeping your frequencies up, laughing a lot, dancing, hopefully less meat, more vegetables, minerals, all those kind of things. We're going to have to evolve to anyway. So
yes.
Thank you so much. I would love for you to share where people can find you with your multiple bestsellers and all your fun merchandise and your great shamanic journeys, which I've bought. I haven't had a chance to use them, but I will soon, and everything else. So tell people where they can go to find you, Elena.
Thank you, Marilee. I have a website, elenadanaan.org, O-R-G. On this website, you find links to all my books, links to my workshops. I have a shamanic workshop and meditation workshops, and also my merchandise, because, I need to make a living, to pay my bills while doing all these videos and writing these books. So I sell also merchandise and artwork, and also I have a YouTube channel. My name, and on it you have everything for free, all the meditations for free, everything for free, and everything that I write in my book that I sell. I also offer this knowledge for free in my YouTube videos, and even incorporate my drawings in my videos, So,
and this would be a good time, which very few people understand, if I have this right, that when you're working with fifth density beings or higher that are pure of heart, and they're used to not playing with the money game on any level, they expect you to offer, if you're going to be working with them pure of heart and mind, they expect you to offer the wisdom and the teaching free of charge. And this makes it so talk about that, because it makes it very, very challenging for those coming forward. Most of them are in dire straits. I know Alex is, and all of that. So the authentic people will be offering a lot free, but they do have to make money either through donations or their books or their merchandise. So please keep that in mind. And anything you'd like to add about the rules of working with a higher?
Yes, what the positive extraterrestrials, it's a question of energy, of flow, The knowledge they give you to pass on as an emissary or bridge to humanity is free of charge. You are just the conduit, the emissary. If you make profit of being the conduit, they cut you straight away, which is totally understandable. Though the thing is, when you start to do, I give you my example, you can relate if you feel like it. When I started doing this, passing these messages, it quickly became out of control in my life. It 24/7 task. I have no choice. That's like it. So while I do that, writing books and making videos and interviews, I do not have time to have a regular job. So I need to pay my bills. So I have the chance to be an artist. So I sell my art, I make T-shirts, things like this, with I can do that. And so they tolerate that I get retribution from selling books because it's a balance for the work and the efforts put in. But I make sure that everything that's in the book is also available for free.
Oh, that's
why
I do
my videos.
Interesting.
Yes. I do not block. What is wrong is to block the information by a payment gate. That doesn't come from a good place. Must not be a payment gate to access information. Every time I write a book or publish a book, I do videos about it. I do Q&As. I show my drawings on screen so people can see, and if they want the physical book, they can buy it. It supports me. It's fantastic. But that's the deal. That's the deal. No money gate to access information. Otherwise they cut you. Boom.
That's one of the ways I figure out who's authentic or not. I don't have any judgment about it because everyone has a right to make their own living, but you can tell who they're working with if all of a sudden, boom, it's like, no, we're not going to play the 3D game of just, winding you in and then, oh, sorry, you have to pay for the goodies, right? That's part of the whole thing. So thank you for explaining that, love. And thank you for your generous time. Oh my gosh, we've already gone over an hour. And it's probably whatever it is, almost midnight for you. So thank you so much, love. And I so appreciate you adding on to this video on the technology and reminding people of the strength of their spirit and to keep making the frequencies high, because we're going to do this. We are going to do this. All right, hon. And this is my first Zoom show, and we'll have many more and lots of fun. So thank you, folks, for joining in, and bless you. Thank you, Elena. Bye-bye.
Thank you.